There we are. Okay.
So in a moment, we're going to come to questions, and you may ask any question that you wish. It is preferable that it is relative to others which are in this group, but you may ask whatever you want. But before we do that, I have a brief talk and then the healing list of names. And today I want to talk on the topic of meditation. Now, this topic will be illuminated a little further when we look at the nature of consciousness. But I want to touch on the very edge of this first, before we get to that talk. Now, in meditation, you have, or many of you have been given a mantra to use. The mantra is meant to work in many different ways. And again, our talk on the nature of consciousness will illuminate a little more of where and why it works. But this mantra should be used by you as dedicated by those who have given it to you. It is not just a word. It is not a word which you could or should pass to others. Of course you can, but the effect is going to be very much more general than it would be if it is not given in a certain blessing. The mantra works on 3 different levels within your being. And this is why it should be blessed rather than just given and one used quite unattachedly during their meditation process. There's a slight story or a story which will illuminate this. And this is a story of a person called Tulsidas. And Tulsidas wrote the Ramayana. And one day he's sitting by the river. And along comes a boy and talks to him and says he wishes to swim across the river. So Tulsidas wrote down his mantra onto a leaf and said to the boy, if you carry this across the river with you, you will be safe. So the boy thanked him and walked along the banks of the river and jumped into the river with the leaf in his hand. And as he got a little way across, the strength of the current of the river started to pull the boy down and away from the opposite riverbank until he scrambled for safety. And yet he looked at the leaf and saw the mantra written on the leaf and knew it was a word that he used already. So this time he jumped into the river, saying the word that was within his mind and leaving the leaf behind. And now he hit tremendous trouble as he tried
to cross further into the river and became quite caught in the current. And it was some time later that he washed up onto a bank further down the stream. And he walks back along the riverbank and by chance finds the leaf once more. And he goes to see Tulsidas and says, what occurred? He said, you let go of the leaf and you remembered the word, but you asked not just for a mantra, but for my mantra. And my mantra would have led you safely across the river. Now, the moral of the story is the mantra is blessed. It is blessed to such a degree that it works within your being, as I said, at 3 different levels, and will take you to safety across to the other shore. But this also requires commitment. The commitment to use the mantra in your meditation and in your daily life. And this is why the boy started and then turned back at his first sign of trouble or resistance. But he would have practiced the mantra and used it with faith of heart, he could have achieved the other shore. So the mantra is given as a blessing. It is not given just as a simple word, but a blessing from those ancestors which have used and blessed the mantra over much time. In fact, the mantra goes back in history many years, many generations and ancestry. And you'll see when we come to the talk on the mantra in that other talk, how it affects each level of your being and why it is as it is. So when you have been given your mantra, and when you practice your meditation, practice with dedication and purity. Practice with intention and trust. Let the mantra do the work it is meant to do. Let your meditation, if you are not using the mantra, let your meditation be full of trust as well. It'll take time to swim the river. But if you swim with purity of heart, you will reach the other shore. So let us go to the healing list of names now. May I have those, please?
Yes, thank you. Grace, Shelley and Carrie, Taylor, Craig and Amanda, Hannah, Matt and Peta, Caitlin and Gareth, Natalie and Maddie, Chantel, Michael Caputo, Joy and Corey, Ross, Howard and Chris, Kathleen and Anne, Karen, Ross, Lily, Amanda Kay, Alex, Rob, Susie, Aiden, Abby and Brett, Jill, Britt, Mason, Stephen, Matthew, Eric, Marianne, Jody, John, Andy, Don, Danielle, Mirabai, Vera and Beth, Holter and Rosa, Tim, Helen, Douglas, Lux, Tim, Lorna, James, Justin, and Courtney, Tomika, Keiko, and Django the cat, Mitsuki, Brian Stern, Wendy Lund, Marty Youngman, Daniel, Carrie Ann, Jeanette, Eddie, Sean, and Brian, and of course, may all be happy. Thank you.
What a many and varied list of names. So may I have your first question now, please?
Thank you, Ignatius. The first question comes from Tomika, and the question is asking for your insight on her journey to becoming the clear diamond.
The journey of being a clear diamond, one who allows the pure flow of the beauty of the non-physical world to flow through one in its purest way to the physical form. The act of cleansing and clearing will purify oneself. Now, there are three levels one should purify. It is the physical world, the mental world, and the soul world. Now, you would think to yourself, why does the soul need cleansing? But the soul will carry various memories of previous life. And it must learn to put aside those memories or those karmas and become fully expansive in its own knowledge. So that it is wide, it is broad, it is understanding of its spirit self and not just its individual self. So there is a cleansing of karma one must do. There is also work within the mind that one must do as well. And that is to bring the mind to its point of stillness as often as possible. It is to see how the mind can also fall into the needs of the physical world and not open to the possibilities of the spiritual. So as an example, the mind may be very attached to the needs of the physical body and the achievements of certain qualities related to the physical world. And if it is focused there, then it will have forgotten the spiritual evolution that one must undertake. But with simple awareness, one will see that the mind has fallen into attention of the needs of the physical and not the spiritual. And with that intention, one then can open to the flow of the purity of the physical self. This mind then can project and see more love that is available and within the physical world. So if your heart is full of love, one will see love in the physical life. If your heart is full of anger, then one will see anger in the physical world. So there are three levels of purification: the physical life, the mental, and the soul level. So the question then is, how does one do that? It is the simple act of awareness that will work through all paths. The awareness is beyond soul. The purity of consciousness is a spiritual, not a soul level quality that one can access. And in fact, if you look at your life, it is impossible not to be conscious. So if you allow your consciousness, your attention, your focus to be purely on spiritual qualities, love and peace and joy, then one will start to see that in both mind and in the physical. So the true way is to become centered in your being, in the qualities of the spiritual world. Let them qualities do the work of burning karma, of bringing attention back to the unified state of being. Let your practices of meditation and mindfulness work with you. And if you are so just in terms of where you are meant to be, then all of one's life will start to show these qualities that exist. Karmas that you have received from maybe past lives or earlier this life will still come if they have been started in action. But the quality of love and peace will dilute them to such a level that one then can barely recognize them, unless it is necessary for your evolvement. Then the karmas will be far gentler than what they may have been. So if you bring your attention to these true qualities, if you see that your karma is playing its effect, and the qualities will help minimalize the old karmas and create more positive karmas for your future, and treat karma not as a burden one must carry, but an option for growth and understanding, then one can find a way out of that and become an ever clearer diamond, a clearer expression of the true spirit. One can find their way. Now, by having this purer view of life, as I said, your future karmas then become more positive rather than potentially negative if one is following a heavier expression of life. So you assist later in this life and also next life and the life after by being pure in being. Now, the person who has asked this question is very pure of heart. The heart can be troubled by the needs and expectations of other people, particularly family members, who expect so much. And one must remind themselves that you are this beauty of pure love. And you do not need to be pulled downwards by the needs of the physical world. Concentrate and focus on your beauty and not your pains. Be an expression of light by being light. See yourself as the truth and place your attention on that truth. Mind is pulling this person into the needs of others and thinking they are in the way of your spiritual progress. But if you concentrate on your pure self, know that that is always with you. Then the way you deal with others and the needs of the physical world will have that quality within you. The clear diamond does not mean one is full of love, but one allows love to travel through you. And in doing so, will fill love within your heart. You see, love originates beyond the physical form. All love is not in the physical life, not originating there, but can be seen and felt there if one connects to it. So you cannot assist another by not being loving yourself. You can be full of love, and you could easily walk away from other people and their demands and their troubles and still be full of love. And that love then will fill one's being and overflow in time into the physical life. So note then that love is not created. It's not created by the physical form or the mind or the soul. To let love flow through you and fill each of these three levels. Know that that is the truth of you. No matter how painful any of these other levels could be for you, always come to the consistent point of self, which is the quality, in this case, as an example, of love. And therefore, if you can connect to that truth of expression, you will never be lacking love ever again. You may look in another direction, but love will always be with you. Because love cannot be damaged, but it can be unfocused upon. So let love be with you. That is your truth. That is the true you. That is the source from all creation comes from. And therefore, even the most difficult karmas have their essence also in love. Even the greatest pains one can face in the physical body have their essence also in love. The most challenged mind, exactly the same. So don't look at the difficulties, look at what is true and let your attention rest there. And let love do the work of burning away or minimalizing all the karmas that one faces. So in this case, start with truth. Not start with pain or illusion and hoping it will remind you of truth. Embody first your spiritual truth. Your progress, although at times you must feel like it, is slower than one would hope. But you can increase the speed and effectiveness by placing your attention in the right direction. Honor your light first, and let the light shine into any parts of the darkness that you can bring it toward. And if you can accept this as being true, then the real truth is you are already the beauty of light, and no darkness will ever affect you. Yet the play of the physical world can at times be traumatic and difficult. But the light is your truth. The physical world is but a play that you are watching, Be your truth first and the play second. Again, I trust this answers the question. Kripa, is there another question?
Yes, the next question will be asked by Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ignatius. This is Dave. Can you talk about the different dimensions or realms in the spirit world and anything about reincarnating onto different planets?
Right. Okay. Well, the physical life in terms of a human life on the planet that you are living is but one. There are many other choices on many other planets. And in time, man will discover that there is life in other parts of the universe. They're on the very edge of the most simplest form, right as we speak. But the distances are so great, one has to look quite far away before they spot even the glimpses of this. Now, life itself exists all the time and is never changing. Life may be expressed in many forms, not just an animated form, but a form which is quite still. So you could potentially have what you may term a life, but be no more than dust traveling through the universe. You may also have a life and it be no more than a plant or a flower, a drop of rain or something else. So the ability to achieve a certain life is a blessing that one is given. It is given to you or given to anyone by allowing the communication of karmas to flow through. For every human life that is being lived now, there are multiple times that, in terms of conscious beings wanting to come into that physical life to live that life. But in order to achieve a life of a human, one may have had to travel through many different consciousnesses to achieve that life. So you would have started at its most simplest form and evolved vibrationally into more complex form. And the human life is not the end of the complexity. There are much more complexity. And the complexity is only limited by one's thought. So perhaps you may try next time to be a complex being of a high vibration that does not look humanoid. And you may wish to do that. But you see, you must, if you wish to do that, it must be aligned with your evolution program. So you may, let us say, evolve gradually and slowly. Why evolve quickly when you have eternity? So you may then evolve from just one simple step at a time. And you may pause at a certain level of vibration for a number of lifetimes before you take a further evolution. I'm talking a vibrational evolution. So the life being lived is not just physical, but also potentially non-physical. And in the non-physical form, one would request or hope for a physical life of some kind. But that request will be determined by the desires, the attachments that one may have. So one should be very careful in their process of transition, process of your physical death, to make sure one is as pure as heart, to ensure a purest or the purest reincarnation. If one would like to not reincarnate physically, one must have an evolution, vibrational evolution, that is beyond the limitations of the human condition. So hence your progress in your physical life, in terms of your vibrational and spiritual growth, becomes critical at the time of death. Because what you leave your physical world is obviously not your clothes, your money, or your car, or anything like that. But it is your vibrational rate that you leave. And if you leave on a number 10, you will go to the place of number 10s and wait there until, you would hope, your next reincarnation would come, and you hope then to get to a number 11 or something. So again, the use of one's mantra, the clarification of one's mind and heart, doesn't just have an implication for the physical life, but has an implication for the non-physical life as well. And as a consequence, as you evolve, you will only go to the place of your compatibility. So as you come into the non-physical world and you mix with those of an equal vibration to you, you'll be able to look down into the lower vibrations and see those who are vibrating not quite at your level. And you'll be able to look up into the higher vibrations and know that there are beings there, but you may not gain much clarity into viewing what they are. Now, in this world, this can still be the layer of the non-physical mind, often known as astral world. And this astral world will mean that one will create items according to one's vibration and ability. So then you would view what you most desire and like and live in a spirit world based on what you most need. But again, as one clarifies one's mind in a physical context, one is also clarifying the mind in the non-physical realm. And if you get to the point of your transition, your death, and your mind is pure enough and clear enough, you go beyond the astral level. And in the next levels, then you are without being, without form, and are purely vibrational. And you wait in the conscious space, unified with others who are on the same level as you. And now you view only upwards to the purity of what is above you, vibrationally. And at the request of those beings above, and also for your own evolution, you may come back into a physical life, but it is not important. And so then you get high vibrational beings who do not need to be incarnated for their growth, but they may come to assist others and to help others. They may come to deal with just one very small amount of karma. And sometimes you get high vibrational beings who only live a few breaths and perhaps physically die within, let's say, the few weeks or months of their birth into a human. And that may be sufficient for them to deal with their karma or their issues that they have yet to resolve. Or they may incarnate to assist others with their karmas that they may have. So if you remember at another talk, I gave a description that there are two types of narcissism or narcissistic people. Ones which are on the growth level and they are growing through the attachment to the physical self and the individual. But you also get a narcissistic person who is a high vibration, who comes into a physical life to be with a particular person. They are sacrificing themselves to live a life, potentially generate negative karma for them, to assist another person. And you can see these because they are both narcissistic and yet spiritual. So you see the narcissism in them on one hand, but at times you get glimpses of their spiritual self. So the traveling through all lives is perhaps quite akin to the first question of the clear diamond. If one is purified sufficiently, cleansed and clear sufficiently, with little or no karma, then one's expression of spirit in the physical life will be on the highest level, shall we say. And therefore, the vibration will also be on its highest level. And therefore, the journey into the world beyond the physical world will also mean going to the highest level. Or if one's life is full of giving and receiving pain, then that vibrational would be less. And therefore, their existence in non-physical vibration will also be on that lower level. Astral world will create all things that are required for that soul's evolution. The soul will request it, the astral will create it. And that may mean not living a human life at all. So your process as one gets nearer to one's transition is very important. So this may need to be practiced and worked upon for many years, so that at the time of, or nearing the time of passing, one's focus is on the highest possible realm, so that then at transition, one will go to the appropriate level. So this is why, in particular, the use of the mantra is beautiful. Again, when we come to the talk of the nature of consciousness, it will show this to you, the way it works in the three different levels. So by remembering spirit or remembering God and feeling very connected right at those last moments, has a tremendous effect of where you will go and what you will experience when you become non-physical once more. So the work then is done in the physical life has implications beyond the physical. The work that one does in cleansing and clarifying has implications beyond the physical. All karmas, as we've said, are no more than a doorway to opportunities to greater understanding of the individual is not the physical body, but is beyond. So therefore, I think the description will explain why the earth world, the human world, is considered a school. A very real school for people, and it must be real. Otherwise, one would not learn fully. So the passing through that school and the graduation or non-graduation, and you repeat time and time again, means that one must remember your identity. And in remembering your identity, and you come into the physical life just to live a lesson or two. One must always remember that you are not that being. You are just witnessing that stage of life for some reason. So your reincarnation, if one is so attached to one part of the life and it is dominant within the mind, then the reincarnation will mean at the time of death, your mind will be full of whatever you're attached to, which will ensure that you will live another birth again. And you will live according to that quality that you had in your mind, because the mind does not know what is real and what is illusion, and therefore creates what it is requested to create. So if you leave this physical world with a dream that you are, or you will miss your car, that being in your mind, the mind will create it accordingly, and you will get another body, something connected to car, maybe from a slightly different viewpoint. So reincarnation is very instinctive until one purifies a little, and then reincarnation becomes more controlled, and you can pick it by clarifying one's mind. And then the more clear one's mind becomes, then of course your next life may be far clearer, or you may not pick another one, may not need it, or you may just purely out of love of another assist them and say, I will play that role for you. So if you are asking then, how do I get the best reincarnation or no reincarnation? Be in control of what you create, which means see yourself as watching the play and not in the play. And that very much aligns to the first question. Dave, is that satisfactory, or would you like me to illuminate any part a little further?
No, that was amazing. That's a wonderful reply, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
I hope you've understood. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Is there another question?
Yes, the next question comes from Wendy.
Yes, Wendy.
Ignatius, thank you so much for your presence, and the answers to the questions tonight have been wonderful. I almost felt like you were answering my question with the first question, but my question is about healing. You have a healing list and you receive the names. And the question is, what is happening there for the people, ourselves or our loved ones, all living different kinds of lives? What happens when we submit names to the healing list?
Thank you, Wendy. Well, there's two parts to this process. The first part, if you were to add a name to the list, well, that is also about you. So this is alignment with you as a quality of a person. So your vibration then is along the lines of hoping to assist a certain person with their physical or mental ailment. So you are holding them within the heart, and you are acknowledging your non-physical aspect of your own truth. So you, as the one requesting healing, then you are acknowledging the purity of your non-physical self. And this also then perhaps aligns to my answer to Dave and improving one's vibration. So your intention is not to self, your attention is to other. So let us go back to the first answer. And please accept this to be the most dramatic and not in alignment with who you are. But you could imagine, by thinking of another person, then you are acknowledging that you are not the narcissistic self who only is interested in my own self needs. And therefore, you're acknowledging that you are a higher vibrational person. And in doing it yourself, you improve not just your vibrational rate, but also the assistance of others as you reflect to others that I am trying to help someone. I'm trying to support someone. So this, of course, then shows your quality. And it shows the way that you are and the love and care you may have for another person. Now, in terms of the name that you give, then that name then is held within a space of beauty and light. And we, even though the names are quite, perhaps at times read quite quickly, that is of no interest to us how quick they are read, but we hold each one in a being of love. So you send love, we take care of the transition to the other by giving them love. And if they have a love around them, then their healing may take quicker. It may just be a little better, or the healing may be full, may be complete, that their bad knee has in fact healed up a little better than it was. So there is love in flow of this, and you allow it out of you. So you acknowledge that it is with you, and you do not hold it for your own benefit, but for others. And therefore we acknowledge that in you and allow the flow to go to whoever you mention. And it sits within their being. They may not ever know about it, but that does not matter. And it sits ready for them to take it when it is most needed. And that may be immediate, or it may take just a little while. So your request for healing is an acknowledgement of love, not an acknowledgement of self. And it goes along a path, and you must trust love to do the work. Now, there are many reasons why a person may recover or may not recover from whatever condition they face. And that is a far more complex issue outside of your question, I think. But you must trust that you have done your part. The rest is up to the other person, not up to you. If they were but to allow that love to them, then that vibration of love would help just a little, or potentially help a lot. Wendy, is that suffice, or would you like a little of something else?
That was a wonderful answer. Thank you. But it brings into question what happens when I put myself on the list as well.
Yeah.
That I also want to be lifted closer to that purity.
Yes, right. Well, as we've said, love is not based in the physical life. Love, in fact, is not based in the mind, nor is it based in the heart, nor is it in the soul, but it originates beyond that in the truth of spirit. So love then would flow into soul, into mind and heart, and into the physical being. So when you have love, It does not need to be given to another person. You can just allow love to be with you. And if you spent your first 5 minutes of your day building love within you, to such an extent it fills your whole being, you would walk around your day and love would go to everyone that you come into connection with. And therefore that love will flow to them, not because of your effort, but because love naturally goes towards other people. So again, going back to my first answer of being the diamond, you should have love for you, and love will naturally go to where it is required. So you are acknowledging your own love and letting that love heal you physically, if you need it. And you can do that by requesting for the healing list, of course. But you could also do that more completely by spending your 5 minutes each morning building love, allowing love to flow in you, not to flow out of you, but into you, and fill your being with it. So all love must begin, in the physical point of view, with self-love. In fact, self-love is the only love, because everything is unified, and the acknowledgement of love is the acknowledgement of self. I'll say that again. The acknowledgement of love is acknowledgement of the self, because you are love. So imagine your day. And let us say this day you spent your time and you had love in your life before you'd even gone out of your front door. What would your what would your life look like? Now, do the opposite and think before you go out of your door, you will build up as much anger and agitation as you can. This is just for dramatic effect. What would your day look like then? Now, as you perhaps could see, there are two very different days that one could live. So why not start your morning just having love in your heart for you, just for you, and walk along your path, dripping love left and right, not knowing who it goes to or why? Would you then not be the clear diamond? As opposed to the opposite, one full of anger, which is far from a clear diamond, I would suggest. Can you see this, Wendy? Do you understand?
Yes, it's a beautiful answer, and I feel so much love as you give the answer. So I know the truth of it.
Yeah.
And I thank you so very much.
Yes. Well, practice a day. When you wake up in the morning, let your first 5 minutes be on love.
Wonderful.
And then as you practice, let's go to Dave's answer. If you'd practice love in your heart through your living life, as you come to the end of your physical body, what would your vibrational rate be like? What would your spirit world be like then? Do you go to the spirit world of anger or the spirit world of love and beauty? You see, all three questions, of course, do tie together, as they always do. So you don't just fill your day, your 5 minutes of love for your day. You are practicing for what your non-physical life would look like, and perhaps even your next life. So this is a quality far beyond healing, isn't it? Yet all healing is just a reminder of one true self. So as you put someone on your list, you're reminding yourself of your true self. And you're allowing a drop of love to go towards another person to remind them of their true self. But they'll only see that if they have the eyes to see it. And that is not of your concern. Your concern is what you do with what you have. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Kripa, do we have time for one more question, or is our time complete?
We are at 1/2 past the hour, Ignatius. So if we are to end on time, that would be now.
Yes, well, I'm afraid other appointments means I must leave.
Thank you.
So I want to leave you with just a brief general statement. The life that you view is according to the clarity of your mind and the openness of your heart, not for the needs of self, but for the expression of your truth. Let your mind be open, let your heart be wide, and allow the beauty of spirit to flow all the way through you for the benefit of your physical life, for the benefit of those you come into connection in your physical life, and for the benefit of your evolution beyond your physical. First, find spirit. Let spirit do the work. God bless you all. Oh, there you go. Good, good. All right, everybody. I've got to run. Okay. All right, everybody, take care. See you later. Bye.